All right. We are welcome back to Sports Ball, a Baltimore Sports Collectibles podcast. And normally I don't have clients on. I like to keep my clients in confidence, but this one touched a little close to home, both geographically and my personal love. I was lucky enough to be involved with Joe Weinstein sometime last summer, I think it was. And we or my part was half of one of the greatest untold Cal Ripken card stories, and I say untold. That's not completely true. Let me say unknown Cal Ripken card stories. And I think it's great. I want to bring it to public. I think it's worth talking about because I think it not only involves somebody I love, but some rare cards that people may not know about. So, longtime Baltimore resident, lifelong Cal Ripken fan, and I'd like to call him a friend. Joe, how are you? Thanks for coming on.
Hello, Danny. Thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. And yeah, I'm happy to tell about the card that I was able to get, the Holy Grail Cal Ripken card, and how what led me to be able to make that purchase.
Yeah, and to give a little bit of background, a lot of people are familiar with Cal Ripken and Cal Ripken rookies. For a lot of people, and I am absolutely not ashamed to say I'm dorky enough to wear a 82 tops traded Cal Ripken shirt for this. For a lot of people, this card was considered the maybe the holy grail of Ripken rookie cards. Everybody's familiar with the three-player 82 tops card with Jeff Schneider and Bob Bonner, but or the Fleer or Dunruss, the regular versions. And so the tops traded was a little bit more exclusive. It does go for more money, um, but there's a whole another level to Ripken collecting, and this is kind of the world I wanted to enter today. And so one of the things that I want to explain is minor league cards have existed for a long time. And minor league cards are typically, you can still go to a minor league game today. I take my kids to Aberdeen or Bowie frequently, and you can go into the team store and buy a pack of team cards. And there's typically not a lot of value for whatever reason, production, et cetera, et cetera. Well, there's a rare set of cards when the Orioles had a minor league team in Charlotte from 1980. And Cal Ripken was a part of this team, and there was a orange version and a blue version. They're both very limited and both highly sought after, but there's something special about one of those versions. The amount of these cards in public, I got to tell you, in 30 some years in the business, I've only seen a handful of the Ripkins ever, much less a set. So, Joe, could you give us a little background, first of all, on the Ripken cards that we sold, and I'll just give a general idea. We sold over $10,000 worth of some pretty rare Cal Ripken rookies that I talked about. So explain those, but then explain the reason we sold them and what you were after.
Sure. So as you mentioned, Cal Ripken has four main uh, 1982 rookie cards that have been produced by the major companies. There's a one from Fleer, one from Donruss, one from Topps, and another set from Topps Traded. So those are his four main rookie cards that are known to most people, and the one that you have displayed on your shirt over there, the Topps Traded. So those cards are, they're pretty fairly common. It's pretty easy to get them at, decent prices. $10, $15. You can get one that's ungraded in near mint to mint condition. However, if you want those in higher grade, PSA nines are going to go for, depending on which one it is. The Tops, the Donruss, and the Flair are the more common ones to find. You can get those for around $100 to $150. The Tops traded in a PSA nine would probably be between $400 and $500 around now. And the Tops, however, in PSA 10s, everything is about the grade, and in PSA 10s, these cards are going to be a lot more expensive than that. The Tops and the Fleer and the Donruss are all going to be over $1,000, between 1,000 and 2,000 for a PSA 10, and the Tops traded is I believe the going rate right now is between $5,000 and $6,000. And the reason for that obviously is because those ones are much more scarce and higher grade. The tens, I believe, for the tops traded, there's only about a few hundred of them, and the same thing for the Fleer and the Donruss. There's only a few hundred. I believe the tops has more than. I think it tops has closer to 600, but
Joe,
still
I just want to give
relatively
Joe. I want to give perspective real quick. The Luka Doncic Prism rookie, I think, just crossed 20,000 PSA tens. So I just want to give a little bit of perspective to people. You just mentioned the population counts on these PSA tens as a couple of hundred, right? That's what we're talking about.
correct.
Okay, I just want to clarify because that's an amazingly low number, I think, for what people are used to, and that's a very key part of this story and why the PSA tens are so special.
Yes. And so I had a couple of the PSA 10s in a couple of Fleer, a couple of Dunris, and a couple of the tops traded. And I had bought them before the market, skyrocketed. So they were still expensive, but they weren't as expensive as they were a fraction of what they ended up, being worth, or what they're worth nowadays. And being a longtime Ripken collector, I always had wanted to, get the holy grail of Ripken cards. And as you mentioned, what a lot of people don't know about Ripken is that he actually has four minor league cards that are much more rare than his rookie cards, and in any grade are much harder to find. And I actually had a couple of those. There was one by a company called TCMA, and that's when he was in Rochester from 1981. There's another one from when he was with another one from Rochester in 1981. It's called WTF, and the company is actually it is what you think it means. It was actually made by
Back
someone
in 1981, right?
back in 1981. Yeah, it was actually the I actually spoke to the person who made the card. His name is Stephen Kozel, and he needed some money when he was in college, and he made a deal with the team to be able to uh, make like a print of the Rochester Red Wing cards of the team, and they let him do it, and he and his friend weren't sure what to name the cards, because he wasn't an official brand or anything. So he came up with a name of a supposed person that was a friend of his that had passed away, Walter T. Franklin,
Sure,
and that was obviously it was just a
sure.
made up name, but he did that to be able to call the set WTF, and it worked then. I don't think it would work nowadays,
Yeah,
but
before texting.
yeah, exactly. So that card is one of his more rarer cards, and then the two most rare cards are a blue border card from 1980 when he was with the Charlotte O's, Charlotte, North Carolina. That card is really rare and hard to find, but even more rare than that card, and that was given out by WTV, the TV station, the local
And
TV
if I'm
station.
correct, those were actually given out as a complete set that you could get all at once.
Correct. Those were given out as a complete set at the stadium on, on in 1980 maybe one or two games during the season. They gave out those sets. They gave out those cards in a set of 28 cards. Now, the set which is much more rare and scarce is the 1980 Charlotte O's orange border set. And it's the same image as the blue border. However, the orange border was given out by the police in Charlotte during the 1980 season.
Wait. This is not the band. The actual police would just give them out randomly.
Correct. The police in Charlotte, North Carolina would give out these cards. I believe they would go to classrooms of kids and tell them about the importance of, police in the community, and, how they can be vigilant if they see any things that look suspicious, and being reporting to the police, and respecting the police and all of that. And they would hand out these cards in the classroom to these kids one by one. So it was never given out as a complete set, and it was never something that you could purchase really. It was just given out randomly by the police, and in fact, the cards on the back of them had crime prevention tips. what kids can do to or just to make sure they're obeying the law and keeping everyone safe. And that's how these cards were given out. These cards were so there were 25 total of them, three less than the blue border set.
Right.
And again, they
So
were
it's a
only given
25
out.
card set given out one or two at a time, to a
Correct.
classroom. All right. So we've talked about it. I can't wait any longer. Can you give us a quick peek of the Ripken orange for those who have never actually seen one online or in person? Can you give us a little sneak peek at your collection? That
Sure.
Ripken. There we go. Move that around. That's the holy grail. So if you're a Cal Ripken collector, could you do me a favor, read the PSA labels so people know exactly what PSA is calling this for us, Joe?
Sure. It's the
Yeah, that's great. Great. Thanks.
1980 Charlotte O's Cal Ripken Jr. Police Orange Border.
That's fantastic. That is for any Cal Ripken fan. That is an honor. Now, so did you? Was it the one Cal Ripken that you were after? Because I mean, they're extremely rare, but you do hear about them from time to time. So was that the ultimate goal, just the one Ripken?
So the ultimate goal was to get that, holy grail of Ripken cards. I was lucky enough to be able to find a longtime Ripken collector in Colorado who who had compiled the complete set himself, um, and I was able to get the entire set of cards. Now they're not all graded by PSA. All of them are, they're ungraded, but they're in, I would say, near mint to mint condition for the majority of the other 24 cards. And
Are you
yeah, I
aware?
was
Are
able
you
to get.
aware of any other complete sets?
I do know of another long time Cal Ripken collector that has a complete set. Um, I don't know of anybody else, but I'm sure there are a few.
From what I've heard, we're talking absolutely less than five. From what I've heard, the question is, are we talking two, three, or four? Is what I've been told. Does
Wow.
that match what you understand? Maybe at most.
Yeah, I mean that. Like I said, the only other one that I'm aware of is this other person he lives in Pennsylvania, who's a
So
longtime
that
collector.
might be the two. That might be it.
Possible.
Yeah, yeah. And to be fair, in our industry, when things transfer from one buyer to the other, sometimes people double count it because they heard about the collection in Colorado. Now they've heard about a collection in Baltimore, and some people are counting that as two collections without realizing that it was actually a transferred or purchased collection. I think this is an honor to get to see this. I just, I've loved it since the first minute we've talked. I think we bonded right away. I am going to reveal some of my complete Cal Ripken dorkiness. I was born in June of '78. Cal was drafted in June of '78. My first baseball game was the '83 Tippy Martinez game, and it was Cal's first MVP season. My last day working for the Orioles was Cal Ripken's last day with the Orioles. I was on the field for his retirement. My daughter was 9 months pregnant with my wife at Cal Ripken's Hall of Fame induction. So I have, listen, I was at the tying game, the breaking game, his last game. I am a personal collector. I've never talked this much about a personal collection or something I do non professionally. But this was such an attachment to you. You're one of the few people I've ever met that really shares this love. So, anything else you want to add? Because this is really a gift.
Sure. Well, again, thanks for this opportunity. But I will add that in case, some people are wondering what the pop report might be or how many of
Please.
them there actually are of the Ripken cards, of the orange border. So there's only 34 total that have been graded by the three main companies, PSA, SGC, BGS. PSA has graded 27 of them, the highest being an 8, which has never seen the open market.
And to put it in perspective, there are more documented T206 Wagners on the market.
Yes, almost double the amount of their orange border cards are the Honus Wagner, which is considered the holy grail of all baseball cards of all time.
Yep.
Um, and then I believe it is from based on my research and a couple of people that I've spoken to, it is the highest card for it's the highest so a PSA 6 I should say a PSA 6 did sell last year for just over $24,000, and that is the highest known price for any minor league set card. So any
Yep.
card that minor league card that has come from a set, that is the highest price for any minor league set card, and it's also the highest price of any Cal Ripken card ever sold.
I mean, was giving you a little privacy there, but I'm so glad you shared that. That's part of the reason that I love this so much is I don't think people realize quite how rare it is. Um, Better than that, there are few cards that I still think have growth potential from a financial basis, and it's not just a passion, but just looking at the finances on this. Your vintage cards have a slow growth appreciation. Your modern cards tend to be overpriced. To be honest with you, very few ever go up from a $500,000 101 super refractor. And you've got this kind of weird in between time where you're out of the classic vintage years. You're not quite into the junk wax, and then you've got this minor league card given out by created with a TV station sponsor, given out by police. Uh, in Charlotte, which it has not been an Oriole minor league city for decades, and it's really a confluence of a lot of things to end up where you did with that card. I think you still owe me a chance to see it in person, so I'm going to call you out on that and definitely take you up on that. But for the Ripken collector, if they are not familiar with this, there are some resources out there, and none of these are paid sponsors. But where do you get a lot of your Ripken information? Let's just share that for people.
Sure. So just to be clear, the one that sold last year was the PSA 6 was not the one that I bought. Mine
Oh,
was
no, no, no. I understand. I was just trying to give
yeah,
a
okay.
ballpark of what we're talking about
Yeah,
as far as
yeah, yeah.
scarcity
So it's
and
not
value
PSA 3.
compared to an 82 tops. I just want.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, so yeah, a lot of the most I would say most of the information that I've gotten from regarding Cal Ripken's minor league cards is from a website called RipkenInTheMinors.com. No spaces, just RipkenInTheMinors.com, and that website is devoted to his minor league cards. It gives you all the information you could ever possibly want to know about any all of four of his minor league cards. And the main purpose of the person who put the website together was to be able to make sure that there have been a lot of fakes of these
Hmm.
minor league cards due to their scarcity and high price that they
And
demand.
low quality print. To be honest with you.
Right, and the print that because some of the cards that have been made by the police, by a TV station, by a college grad, they weren't made by real companies in factories. They were made in someone's backyard or something.
Yep.
So it's pretty easy to make fakes of them. And PSA has actually graded a couple of fakes of a few of the minor league cards.
Unfortunately,
Um,
yeah.
so because of that, this longtime Ripken fan put together this website and has, like I said, all the information you could possibly want to glean on all of Ripken's cards, the population reports, the prices, the background, and yeah, that's where I've gotten most of my information from.
And I think Joe and I might be taking something for granted here. Pop reports and population reports are the amount of cards that are in the market that have been graded by a company. You referenced what was it, 34 between all three companies, so that's going to be PSA, Beckett, and SGC. Typically, when we talk about pop reports, we're talking about those three companies. PSA keeps a more formal registry that goes back a while. SGC has been known for years as one of the top graders, and Beckett, Dr. James Beckett created the guide. So all three have their pluses and minuses, but those are the three we're talking about. And when you get, and I want to stress this, when you get into pop counts that low, um, listen, when I buy vintage cards, I have higher pop counts than that. I mean, it's easier to find a 48 leaf Jackie Robinson than it is the card you have. I mean, that's just the reality.
Yeah, and yeah, I am really grateful to have been able to work with you and be able to consign my Ripken rookie cards to be able to sell them to get the amount of money that was needed to purchase the orange border, which is the pinnacle of my Ripken collection.
Well, I appreciate that. And I took quite a multi-state deal to get to work. These cards went all over the country, and so glad it worked out. But it also shows you there's Cal Ripken lovers everywhere. So I'm glad there's other people that share our passion. Joe Weinstein, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure you and I will see much more of each other.
Yep. Thanks again. Take care.
No, I appreciate it. Take care.